Sorry. We'll call this meeting to order of the nursing home and VAC. Roll call. Kathy Owens,
Here.
Ron Blue, Mike Cassup,
Present.
Bill Brown. Absent is Kathy Bright and Pamela Beckett. We also have Beth Finley Smith, Doug Traeger, Uwayne Corrado, and Areta Zanecki, and Chairman Don Jensen. Okay, I need a motion to accept the minutes from the previous meetings. Mike Cassup, Ron Blue, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Krista, your report?
All right, this past month we didn't have too terribly much going on with the office. We did join up with Cedar Creek Ranch and Allen Force, which is a nonprofit. We did a ride for veterans to see kind of what activities they liked out there, to try and put together a program with Paul, the owner of Cedar Creek Ranch. It was a great turnout. We had over 20 veterans come out, ride, do kind of like the petting zoo area, have some lunch, do some yoga out there. We had a great turnout and great reports from everybody that attended, so it was a good day. Me, Lissa, and Emily all went to state training in Peoria. The state training is always beneficial. We get to hear from veterans law judges, the IDVA side of things, the state side of things. Medical examination office was there, which is the exams that the veterans go through in order to get service connected. The do's and don'ts were, kind of talked about on what is expected of the veteran, what they can bring with them, what they should not bring with them, and so forth. CHAMP VA, which is a healthcare for veterans, spouses, and families that are 100% permanent and total. That was talked about as well. It's always fantastic because I feel like it dives deep and it's a smaller group of people than nationals, where we have 500 plus. This, we only have about, 150, 200 people there. So it's more intimate and you can ask more questions, and we're all more, it's just the state of Illinois. So we all know each other pretty well, and it's just a great time to kind of interact and, I have a veteran scenarios off of one another. We also did pair up with the Ottawa Food Pantry. That is an Army veteran. They do a mobile food drive. We have veterans that are on general assistance and such. So we provide through Midwest Shelter for homeless veterans, basically stuff for housing goods and cleaning supplies, toiletries, those sorts of things. Well, now we can also help them get some dry food goods as well. This gentleman is very interested in knowing what else he can provide for us, but we have a meeting with him on Friday to kind of learn more, if you will, and see what we can do to pair up with him. Our office is also putting together a school kind of education expo, if you will. We're reaching out to all the state schools, all the non-private schools, if you will, to see if they will come out to our office to be available to answer any questions about what they offer our veterans and family members with the GI Bill and Chapter 35. So we just need to see how many are interested. We have it tentatively scheduled right now for October 28th. That is a Saturday, so hopefully we get some people out there that might not be available on a weekday. We also started keeping track of our walk-ins. We've had a ton lately, so I figured that was kind of a good number to keep track of. Total in August, we had 60 walk-ins. Of those, 25 made appointments, 35 were only questions. So irregardless of it's just a question or if they get an appointment scheduled, we have to help them in some capacity. So it might just be something quick that we can do and they don't need really an appointment for, or it might be something more detailed that we need to schedule them for. So thank goodness again for our team, because we've had an average of over 700 phone calls a month. It's just been kind of crazy, but we are scheduling them out right now, late October, early November. So our time frame has gotten down a little bit. We used to be about 2.5 months out. Now we're about a month and a half. As far as claims benefits goes, we have exceeded our expectations once again. We are at $5.1 million brought into the county veterans and families. So we're excited about that. We have continued getting these benefits for our veterans and families. It's just been phenomenal, the turnout. It is still a slow process. It is still about, you know, a 8 to 12 month wait from time you put in a claim to the time it's decided. The appeals process is still there. We still have appeals going out because, you know, either the effective date is wrong or, you know, they didn't look at some evidence that we might have submitted, or we got new evidence between the time that we submitted to the time that it was decided that we needed to fight that a little bit more. But that is about it. Any questions, concerns?
Doug Traeger?
Krista, do you still go to Streeter and Mendota on
We do.
certain
Yep.
days?
Yeah, so Tuesdays we go to Streeter and Thursdays we go to Mendota.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, you have a question?
I read through the written report that I have in front of me, and my question is now, I've been a member of this committee just to qualify my statement for a number of years, and I've noticed now that we have a new called bonus program. This is the first time I'm trying to recall, maybe age related, that there was never anything that was brought before us as a committee of oversight for the VAC, that this is something internal that has been done by the commission itself?
This has been talked about for a while now, but I did bring it up. Gosh, was it last year?
Are you talking about like that longevity pay or the bonus?
Whatever we want to call it, it's an increase in wages.
Yeah, that's
Not
something.
that I have the power to set the wages, that's more or less on the recommendation of the service members that serve on that VAC committee itself.
Correct.
It's just a matter of, I guess I'm feeling outside of the loop as a board member to make sure that there's communications between your department.
Right, I understand, but I've brought that up quite a few times, I think.
Well, it was put in last year's budget, $25,000 for bonuses.
I'm making the comment as a matter of transparency. Thank you.
Understood.
I just have one question, Krista. On the claim summary,
Yes, sir.
there's one that shows 10%, 426.23, gets 165.92 a month, but he received 248,000.
So there's back pay.
Oh, going back.
Yep, so I don't put back pay in here because that's kind of personal. I think what we do is going forward. So going forward is what they have, and then,
So that would be $165 a month.
A month going
forward. But
going-
he didn't apply. He would have been eligible years ago.
well, no, so his back pay, that was a board appeal that we found, an issue with. He came into our office, this gentleman came into our office, and we found an issue, with a previously filed claim. That's why, you know, we go to these trainings and find out the appeals processes and everything else. So we fought that. How they adjudicated it was wrong. So we fought it and ended up getting him the $248,000 worth of back pay. But going forward, he will only get the $165,000 or $165 a month.
Okay, I just couldn't understand how that.
Yeah, and these are kind of weird because each veteran and family member is an individual. So some of them might have a family of 4 that you have to put in there, or some of them might be single veterans, or some of them might have what they call special monthly compensation, which bumps their pay, but not necessarily their percentage. So it's weird on how the VA is just weird, but how they factor things and how they pay out. So,
Okay, thank you.
yep.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Doug.
I have a question about that too, Krista.
Yep.
If somebody goes through another agency
Mhm.
to make a claim or something, does that show up on your records at all? Or?
So we don't do anything, we don't claim anything that we have not done. If somebody goes, for instance, to DAV, files a claim, and that's been done before, we don't factor anything. They might come into our office already 50% service connected. We factor what we do going forward. So if we get them 70 or 80 or what have you, then we claim that portion of it.
Okay.
But that is something that we can see with our access cards and our qualifications through the VA system, what they are already service connected for by filing what we call POA.
Okay, so if they go a different route
Mhm.
and are ultimately successful, are you guys even aware of it then, or?
No, most of the time, if they pull POA away from us for whatever reason, say they moved, or, you know, they for whatever reason didn't get along with us or what have you, it happens.
Okay,
No, we generally don't know.
okay,
We don't know.
thank you.
Just who do you answer to, or yeah, I mean, what's the chain of command?
In our office?
Your office? Who does your office report to?
So my board, my VAC board is made up of all the area, you know, posts and legions and everything else. That board governs me. They hired me. I generally handle the hiring and firing in the office. If that
Okay.
makes sense.
And all right, and you deal directly with the VA then,
Yes.
which would be where's that at? Is that
I mean, it's federal, so it's all over. Our regional office is out of Chicago.
okay? So if you got a veteran who is you know, claiming like disability or something like
Mhm.
that, they would come to you.
Correct. Yep. And then we file that claim and then follow that along with them. So if they need more supportive evidence, we would help them submit that. If they get a percentage for a disability that they thought would be higher, we can help them figure that out and how the best way to get there would be. Or if they even have a claim. We can't file what we call frivolous claims, which means we can't just throw stuff at the wall, you know, and hope it sticks. We have to actually have evidence. Otherwise, we can lose our licenses.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No other questions? Can I have a motion to accept the monthly report and place on file? Mike? Bill? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we need a
Thank you.
motion to pay the bills. Mike, Kathy, Owens? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mike, you have a?
Yeah, one more comment before you leave. As we know, in the past, we've had an opportunity because of the pandemic to have ARPA funding available. I was wondering if you might be able to, we're still getting our sums together as to what monies we may have available, and we have until 2026 to allocate those funds. I'm wondering if the next service meeting that you have with the representatives of the different veterans groups, you might mention to them that they may want to petition the county board for use of those funds for their facilities or for something that their particular club may have something that they would want to support those veterans in that area. I don't know. I feel myself, I might have dropped the ball to let them know, even though they're associated, they still would have the ability to request. I don't know where we're at with finance as to whether we're going to have cash available, but just in case we do, it would be interesting to put the bug in their ear to have something in their mind that we might be able to support them if we have available funding.
I know that there was quite a few posts that wanted to put in for that. They were all supposed to come together and do it kind of unanimously. That kind of fell through for a myriad of reasons. But then by the time all was said and done, they were told it was too late to apply. So if it is not too late to apply, I will tell them to do so.
One thing, Mike, you made one mistake. It has to be budgeted by 24 and spent by 26. We have to hand out the money, have to have, decide how we're going to spend it by the end of 24. But it has to be spent, we don't have till 26 to hand out money.
Spend money by 26, but that still gives us a year and a half.
No, we have to, next,
Requests could come in until 26.
no.
24,
24,
another year.
yes.
Okay. And we're still trying to get availability of funds to see what we may have to distribute yet, correct?
Well, we handed money to some organizations with the stipulation that they had to show us by the middle of 24 that they were going to be able to spend the money.
And
So
This-
if they don't, then that money's going to come back to us.
I just wanted to be open to let them know that depending upon where we're at as a board, there may be funds available. There's a lot of what ifs, but to at least concentrate as opposed to what the outcome might eventually be and not supporting the veterans.
So Gary, if they apply, would it be considered?
Well-
Or would it be kind of,
I'm not sure where we're going to go with the ARP. Mr. Jensen could probably give us some insight.
We'll be looking later this year as to possibly opening up the application process.
okay,
We'll be looking at ones that applied after the deadline dates,
okay.
and then we'll see if we need to open up that application process again, maybe later this year or early next year.
So if I have them get in touch with Sharon, would that be okay? Or should I?
Just wait until we get things figured out.
Okay.
And then, well, December or January monthly meeting and that, you can get the word out.
All right, I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Comments? Thank you very much. Okay, on to nursing home administrators report.
Good morning. As for the activity department, the garage sale went well. We made almost $1,000, and that'll go towards resident activities. We are starting our fall trips, which involves going out and seeing the fall leaf colors. We went on a pontoon boat, and they loved that. We'll be having a Halloween party for residents this upcoming month and trunk or treat for our staff children. Current census 58, admissions were 3, discharge 2, and deaths 3. Networking opportunities continue with neighboring hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living, and hospices. Employee incident report, we had 2 for the month, so the total for the year is 10 employees and 1 visitor. Nursing department, we're currently in COVID outbreak and we're testing twice a week. We're looking to hire more nursing staff. We've hired 1 RN and a CNA, and we have 2 in the process for the PRN positions. For my report, we had a federal survey last month. This went very well. We have not received the citations yet, but the federal surveyor stated she found 1 to maybe 2 issues, so that's a very good survey. We replaced the washer in the laundry area. That's complete. We were able to save $2,000 with that because we had that cement pad that was there. We didn't have to have the riser. The ice machines did go out, and because that's a regulation, we had to replace the 1. So we're waiting for that to come in. CMS is proposing a new rule for 24/7 RN coverage, 24/7 RN coverage. This should happen soon, so we'll need to increase the RN salary to maintain the staffing, but I don't have a date yet. When I have a date, then we would discuss it. I suggest we look into a new company for dining services. We are still having the issues we had before with these nonstop issues from complaints to the company It just doesn't seem to stop. So we'll need to, if we decide to do that, we would need to give a 60-day notice to stop services. The contract is up 11/30, and it automatically renews.
With what, like a 3 or 4% increase?
It's every year, I believe, is 3%. So I think, what are we at, 500? We budgeted over 500,000 for the year. Yeah. But with the continued issues, it's been a while. What, over a year?
Do you think you can find anybody any better?
I would love to have our own in-house, but I know that probably, it might cost just as much to do that. So we can start looking for outside services again, if that's what you want.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Don?
is there a date by which they have to be noticed?
It's 60
Notified.
days. Yeah, it's 60-day notice for termination.
Okay. The financials. Anybody, has everybody had a chance to look at the bills? Any questions on the bills?
I can read the revenue and expenses right quick. So revenue last month was $1,000,001, tax levy 654. Our total from patient care was 440,750. The requirements were 540.
Our water engineer, we just pay him once a year?
I believe so. We don't see a bill often with that. It might be quarterly. Actually, I can ask Rhonda. It might be quarterly.
Well, I just noticed it's like a whole year's salary we paid him now, this month.
Let me ask Rhonda, because I'm not exactly sure about that.
'Cause I didn't know if we went to once a year or if it,
I thought it was quarterly, unless we didn't get a bill from them, and that, I
well,
mean,
that's
that
what I didn't
happens.
know.
Yeah.
So is Grape Tree the only service you use?
We
For-
have 3 or 4. We do use the other ones at times, but usually they end up canceling. So Grape Tree is the one that always pulls through. So they're our main one.
Any other questions on the bills? Mike, you got something, looks like?
My financial.
Time this month, we're getting close to Christmas.
I was going to say the financial officer is coming in if there's any other questions. She can
Oh,
answer the
oh,
questions.
Rhonda's coming up?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
She's here.
Well, if no other questions, can I have a motion to pay the bills for the nursing home? Kathy Owens? Bill Brown? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Are attorneys here for a special reason or? Okay, thank you. Okay, also on the agenda is nursing home administrator. Sorry to say, Carrie is leaving us. So we have to find a new administrator. I believe Don was gonna have it put on the website.
We'll be taking a look at that later today.
Okay. Anything else on the administrator right now? Anything for the budget of next year? No changes, was there, than what was presented to finance? Do we need an executive session? We don't, do we?
I don't believe, unless somebody else.
I just want to say to Carrie, I personally appreciate everything you've done down there at the nursing home. Done a great job. And thank you. Okay, I guess I need a motion. Oh, Mike, you want us?
The question, Carrie, I again also want to thank you for, I believe it was 18 years of service to the county? 15? Okay, thank you very much for that. Take care of our older community requires a lot of dedication, passion, and understanding. And for me to be part of watching you grow and your profession and eventually become administrator, again, thank you very much. One question that I do have when it concerns our food services at the facility, there have been numerous issues. Can we expound on that, or do we have to go into private session? The reason is that we want to look at new food service provider at the facility would be.
Well, yes, there's been, I think it's a lot with staffing, isn't it, Carrie?
Yes, staffing, there's numerous issues. I would have to pull emails and write everything down. It's not just staffing. Simple things such as using styrofoam when we should be using plates because that costs us money. When it's easier to do that because you don't have to wash dishes.
Yeah.
It's just numerous constant complaints. And it's got to stop. And when it doesn't stop, then I think it's time you look for a different company. And when the residents are complaining of the food to the state as well.
Well, yeah, that doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't. No, this state survey with their complaints regarding dietary wasn't great. And we did get citations too.
Oh, on the food service?
They were serving incorrect meal that was on the menu. You can't alternate unless you give a notice ahead, and that's a lot of times as well.
Yes.
Food isn't being ordered when it should be being ordered.
Tom, you have a comment?
Yeah, I just wondered if we have inspections by our local health department, or does the state public health department handle all your inspections in regard to food and so forth? That would be something subject to the contract that we have.
We have both. So the health department comes in and our inspections are good with that. That's mostly clean, the license is up to date, and those are always good. The state inspection, they dive in more and they'll look at the meals being served. Is the meal what the menu ticket says? Are the residents complaining of the food, the temperatures of the refrigerator and the food? There's a lot more variables with state.
So you have those records available if in relationship to the contractor, they're made aware of those?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, and we got those available for
Yes.
the actual change, if there is a change in the vendor. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Mike?
It just hit me. We understand Carrie will be leaving us. What is the timeline now? And how quick are we going to have to, in the state requirements, to have an administrator? If we can't find anyone to fill the position, do we have a stop-loss measure that we can go out into the open world and find somebody to fill in and temporary, or? I mean, we know that we have these responsibilities. I just, at a public meeting, I think it's important that there is some way that the general public can either go on YouTube to find out what our direction is, as to Mr. Chairman is going to put an advertisement for an administrator on the website. I think we need more information today. Is there any thoughts from committee, or are we just going to leave it at that right now? And the amount of time that Kerry has left to support the facility.
We will meet all state regulations on having someone qualified to run the facility.
I have not had my question answered. I
Well-
know that we will have to have that. I get it. What's the timeline? Where are we at?
I'm not sure, what, is it the 15th, Carrie, your last day?
Technically, it's tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, Mike?
Dystopian attitude. Without administration or having someone to step in tomorrow, what requirements are we going to have? Do we get a buy from the state? Give us a couple weeks? Can we appoint a temporary administrator
I'm not sure.
out of our committee, maybe? And oversee the operations of the facility?
Out of the committee? We wouldn't be able to do that out of the committee because there's no qualifications to do so.
Do
There-
we have to transfer the residents to a facility that is currently have all the necessary administrative staff? If the last day is tomorrow, that means that on Thursday morning, we can't operate a facility.
Well-
Am I saying that correctly, or am I
I'm
pulling
not sure.
this stuff from the iCloud?
I'm not sure what all the regulations are as of
Okay.
right today.
I mean, that's fair.
Should we get Mr. Herman involved in that? Right away? To see what he can find out?
Yes, please.
I have another question for him, Gary, too, on the food service. The 60-day notification, if you have to give them 60 days,
It's gone. I say that's gone.
No.
The 60-day notice.
No, I mean,
If November 30th is.
that's when the
renewal
contract
date.
is up, but it can be broken with 60-day notice from either side.
It can be broken just with 60 nanos.
so if the contract's up November 30th,
It automatically renews.
do we have to give them notice then?
We can give them notice anytime that within 60 days, we're going to end the contract.
So do you want to do that? And otherwise, it's just going to keep going, right?
We're going to have to see who is available. Do some research before we give notice. We don't want to go out and give notice and find out that there is nobody else available.
Right. So we have to rebid it then?
Yes, it'll be bid.
And I
And if that's the case, then.
I hate to dwell on this, but how many bids did you get the last time it was up, do you remember?
Two, wasn't it?
The first time we got two, we had to go out to bid again because one of them was faulty, correct? I
Yes,
believe they bid
yeah.
accurately. The second time, it was just the one, and that's our current.
Thanks.
Just a quick question. Carrie, do you know if there is other food places that are willing to come into the nursing home?
I think the problem last time was serving staff meals. Once they found out that they had to serve the staff meal, then of course it was
Yeah.
higher, price was higher, and our company was lower. So it's kind of difficult finding a food service company. But that was it 2 years ago or has it been a year?
2 years ago, I
Been 2
believe.
years. So, and maybe there's a new company right now. I don't know. We would just have to put it out and see.
'Cause I'm not sure who does the jail. That's a different company, I
I don't
believe.
know.
But that's an easier contract.
Yeah, I'm
Everybody
not
gets
sure.
the same.
Yes, and you have to listen to the residents, and I mean, it's their food, that's what they look forward to, so
Yes.
it's got to be a little different.
Mr. Herman, there was a question asked about when Carrie leaves, what time frame do we have to get someone that is certified? Has all the legal requirements as an administrator?
I'm no expert on nursing home law by any means, but I believe, and Gary probably knows more about this than I do. My opinion, you have to have a licensed administrator. Administrators have to be licensed by the Department of Public Health. And I don't know that you can operate without that. I think somebody's name has to be on file. I guess I'll say that. I provided a form to the chairman I believe last week for that purpose to notify the department.
Luann?
We have an assistant.
No, we do not have an assistant.
Okay,
We have a director of nursing,
that is all we have.
yes. So when Carrie's on vacation, the director of nursing can act as administrator.
So could she also act as administrator until
No,
only during vacations?
yes. Or when Carrie's out of the building. Ron?
We pretty much knew she was going to do this for the past month. Why are we addressing this now and it wasn't addressed earlier from the board members to figure something out? Why wait till the last day? You had plenty of time to figure something out. That's all I might have to say.
Mike?
This is a very adult conversation, so I'm going to try to control my passion, because I believe over the years, I've always been committed to providing social justice, social services here in LaSalle County. One of the things that I believe government has a high standing in to provide the standard to care for the general public and having a care facility for older people. We always understood that. But unfortunately, in the real world, realism set in that we use sometimes the ability of ourselves to look at cost as to whether there is a greater good because of the cost. And that's why I've always stood with providing a care facility. And unfortunately, on my own remission, I have to admit I didn't lobby strong enough to provide for future plans as to when we found out that we couldn't come to an agreeable term on salary for the current administrator. A week ago, there was a meeting concerning the fact that we were trying to renegotiate through the Salary and Labor Committee a standard of the request from the current administrator of her salary. And it was defeated in committee at Salary and Labor. Now, I don't know what other fact is, because as a full board, we've always had the ability to set wages as a full board and also revisit after recommendations from committee in the public forum. We have not gotten to that point. That was one of the reasons that we were at right now, hoping that there was going to be some consideration and compensation fairness after the committee meeting. Well, a week ago, that didn't happen. So now consequently, Ron, we are experiencing this here stop loss or stopgap as to what decisions are going to be made. We still have time. I've got all day. My particular agenda is concerning care for the geriatric community, nursing care in LaSalle County right now. I'm hoping that other members of the committee will at least give me consideration with their argument, or our board members that are here, as to what we're going to do. As Mr. Herman just stated, without an administrator, Ron, we can't operate the facility. We're outside the law. That's a hell of a thing to say if you're in government, that you want to step outside the law. As you can tell, I'm frustrated, but we were hoping, I believe, the wisdom that we had, that there would be some kind of compensation, reconsideration. It didn't happen through committee. So has that stopped at the salary and labor? Did they forward any information? The YouTube had about 6 minutes, 7 minutes of what I would call executive session, motions made, and everybody went home that day. It's frustrating for me. Unfortunately, I've been involved, and I think passionately, for the years that I've served here in LaSalle County. But that's kind of my interpretation. I don't think that we were being malfeasant and not planning for the future. We just want to accept, hoping that there would be a better outcome, Ron. Thank you.
Mr. Jensen?
I'd like to make a suggestion, go in executive session in regards to this issue.
Okay, do we have a motion to go into executive session for?
In regards to the nursing home administrative position and salary compensation.
Just a second, I gotta get the right. Yeah, it would be 5 ILCS 120-2C, appointment, employment compensation, discipline, performance, dismissal. When it,
120/2C2.
120/2C. Two?
Two.
Two, okay.
Mr. Chairman, on recommendation of the board chairman, I'll make a motion to go in executive session.
Just a second. Amanda is coming back. She had to grab something. Mike, would you repeat the motion, please? To go into executive session? Who wants a second? Bill Brown. Okay, roll call vote. Kathy Owens.
Aye.
Ron Blue. Mike Cassup.
Aye.
Kathy Bright.
Aye.
Bill Brown.
Aye.
Gary Small, aye. Motion carries. We'll go into executive session.